Okay, fifth graders, it's time to do a little bit of review. This is page 390. You can write that in your notes. You're going to take some notes today. I'd like you to make them nice and neat. We'll probably skip some of these problems, but number them, write them down, show every little bit of work because it'll help you with a quiz that's coming up. So we're going to look over lessons 9.1, 9.2, 9.3, and 9.4. So label your paper in your notes for page 390, and we're reviewing 9.1 to 9.4. Okay, so I'm hoping that 6 will not be a problem for you. You're just supposed to write the fraction 7/8. So a 7 on the top and an 8 on the bottom. The top is called the numerator. The bottom is called the denominator. Number 7, 4/5 is 4 over 5. Number 8, 1/4 is 1 over 4. And number 9, 11/15 is 11 over 15. Now I'm hoping you could also draw a picture for each of those. We're not going to draw a picture for number 9 because the numbers are kind of high, but go ahead and draw a picture for number 8, 1/4. Draw any shape and divide it into 4 equal parts. They do need to be equal or approximately equal, and shade in 1 out of 4. That is a picture of 1/4. Why don't you go ahead and draw a picture of 4/5 also. It's hard to divide things into fifths, so what I like to do when I'm drawing is make a rectangle but leave one end open. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, and just keep going a little farther. And you got 5. Those are supposed to be equal parts. And we're going to shade in 4 of them. So that's a picture of the fraction 4/5. Okay, this next section tells us to write the decimal that goes with the fraction. And I want you to notice that the denominators are all decimal places. See how you've got tenths and hundredths? So those should be very easy to then change into decimals. If you just read this fraction, it says 4/10, and you should know how to write that automatically as a decimal, 0.4. This also says 4/10. The place right after the decimal point is called the tenths place. Number 11, 37 over 100 is 37 hundredths. The second place after the decimal point is the hundredths place, and that's where it ends. And we put a 0 here just to make it good form. So 0.37 equals 37 hundredths. You should be writing both the question and the answer. You go ahead and do numbers 12, 13, and 14. Pause the video and turn it back on when you're ready to check your answers. Number 12 is a little bit tricky. Three hundredths. The hundredths place is the second place after the decimal point, so the 3 needs to go there, and you need a 0 to fill that space where the tenths place is, and a 0 to make it look nice. So 0.03 is 3 hundredths. 7/10, put a 7 in the tenths place, put a 0 to make it look nice. Number 14 says 71 hundredths. Hundredths is the last place. That's where you want the last digit. put a 0 in front to make it look nice. That says 71 hundredths. Okay, the directions now tell us to write the next 3 equivalent fractions. I like number 15. It's got a 1 on the top and they're counting by ones. 1, 2, 3. So this is 4, 5, 6. And they're counting by 2's on the bottom. 2, 4, 6. So it's 8, 10, 12. And all that means is, remember I like to think about pizza. If you get half of the pizza, that's the same thing as getting 6/12 of the pizza. If they cut it into 12 equal pieces and you get 6 of them, you have gotten half. So all of these fractions are equal to 1/2. Now, I don't like number 16 quite as well because they're not counting by 8's on the top. What are they counting by? Well, they're counting by 2's. 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 18. They're not counting by 12's on the bottom. What are they counting by? They're counting by 3's. 12, 15, 18, 21, 24, 27. And again, if you get 8 out of 12 of something, it's the same thing as getting 18 out of 27. They're just different size pieces. Okay, you see if you can do number 17, pause the video and turn it back on when you're ready to check. Okay, we're not counting by 4's here. We're actually counting by 1's. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. We're not counting by 20's here. We're counting by 5's. 20, 25, 30, 35, 40, 45. So 9/45 is the same thing as 4/20, and all these other ones in between are equal as well. All right, we're supposed to complete. That means figure out what goes in this box. And we have both of the numbers on the bottom. With multiplication or division, how do you get from 8 to 4? You divide by 2. 8 divided by 2 equals 4. If you divide by 2 on the bottom, you divide by 2 on the top. 2 divided by 2 is 1. So 1 is the number that goes in the box. And what it's saying is 2 eighths and 1/4 are the same thing. They are equivalent fractions. Number 19. We have both numbers on the top this time. With multiplication or division, how do you get from 9 to 1? You divide by 9. If you divide by 9 on the top, you divide by 9 on the bottom. 18 divided by 9 is 2. So we're saying that 9/18 is the same thing as 1/2. And I think that one makes sense to you. If you cut the pizza into 18 pieces and you get 9 of them, didn't you get half of the pizza? Okay, so 9/18 and 1/2 are equivalent fractions. Okay, you go ahead and try 20 and 21. Pause the video and turn it back on when you're ready to check. Okay, we have both numbers on the bottom. To get from 12 to 4, you divide by 3. If you divide by 3 on the bottom, you also divide by 3 on the top. 9 divided by 3 is 3. So our correct answer is 3 or 3/4. Over here we have both numbers on the top. 27 divided by 9 is 3. 36 divided by 9 is 4. So 3/4 and 27/36 are equivalent fractions. All right, I think this is kind of a hard part here. It says to find the common factors and then find the GCF, which is greatest common factor. I'm going to need a little bit more room to do this, so I'm going to come down here and do it. Okay, 16 and 20 are the numbers we're going to find the common factors for. You always, and you need to write this just exactly how I'm writing it. Start with 1 times the number itself, which is 16. So we're looking for things that multiply to make 16, and let's do it in an orderly fashion. Does 2 work? Yes, it does. 2 times 8. Does 3 work? No, there's no multiplication fact that's 3 times something equals 16. So you move to 4. Does 4 work? Yes, 4 times 4 is 16. If you happen to get to a double, 4 times 4, then you're done. Okay. Then we do the same thing with 20. 1 times 20. 2 times 10. 3 doesn't work. 4 times 5. And then we would try 5, but we already have it, so we know that we are done. So these are all of the factors of 16 and 20. And we're supposed to now find the greatest common factor. That means which number appears in both lists and is the biggest one. Okay, so 1 and 2 and 4 appear in both lists. So 4 is the one we want because that's the greatest one. So the GCF is 4. Let's go ahead and do number 26. Again, I need more space down here. Need to be writing all of this down. 2, 8, and 16. The factors of 2 are 1 and 2. That's the only multiplication problem that makes 2. That is made of whole numbers. 1 times 8 and 2 times 4. 1 times 16, 2 times 8, and 4 times 4. We already did that one in the last problem. And the biggest number that appears in all 3 lists is 2. So the GCF equals 2. By the way, the GCF, it can't be any bigger than the smallest of the numbers you're given. So it can't be any bigger than 2 because there's not going to be anything in this list that's bigger than 2. In this right here, the answer for GCF can't be any bigger than 4 because there's only going to be 4 is going to be the highest number for 4. Here it can't be any bigger than 27. Okay, that might be painful. Why don't you go ahead and do number 27, pause the video, list all the factors, pause the video, and come back to check. Okay, here's number 27. The factors of 4 are 1, 2, and 4. The factors of 12 are 1, 2, 3, 4, 6, and 12. Factors of 24 are 1, 2, 3, 4, 6, 12, and 24. And the GCF is going to be 4. And finally, we have write in simplest form. Simplest form, writing in simplest form can also be called reducing, or it can be called simplifying. It's all the same thing, okay? Now here's what we have to do here. Write 12 over 16 for number 30. And I want you to put divided by fraction line equals fraction line. Then you need to know what number is the biggest number. What's the GCF for 12 and 16? And for some of you, that might take a minute to figure that out. You can divide that by 4 over 4. 12 divided by 4 is 3, and 16 divided by 4 is 4. So 12/16 and 3/4 are the same thing, but 3/4 is in simplest form. And they're always going to want you to do that with fractions. That's something you're going to have to learn. Okay, for number 31, write 20 over 15 But divided by fraction line equals fraction line. 20 and 25 are both divisible by 5. Can you kind of see that? You look at that and you go, oh yeah, those are both 5s. So you divide that by 5 over 5. 20 divided by 5 is 4, and 25 divided by 5 is 5. So your answer is 4/5. 4/5 is the same thing as 20/25, but 4/5 is written with the smallest possible numbers. Now, it doesn't work out this way every single time, but sometimes it does. See how 3 and 4 are consecutive numbers? Like if you were counting, you'd go 3, 4, and 4, 5 are also. If you have consecutive numbers, then you know that you definitely have it in lowest terms, in simplest form. But that doesn't happen every time, but it is a sign that you're definitely done. Okay, you go ahead and try 32, 33, and 34. Show all the work, and then pause the video, and then check back when you're ready to check. Number 32, the GCF of 6 and 14 is 2. 6 divided by 2 is 3. 14 divided by 2 is 7. 3/7 is your answer. And 3 and 7 are not consecutive numbers, but that's okay. They don't all turn out that way. 9 and 24 have a common factor, a greatest common factor of 3. 9 divided by 3 is 3. 24 divided by 3 is 8. 24 and 27 also have a common factor, a greatest common factor of 3. 24 divided by 3 is 8, and 27 divided by 3 is 9.